This program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning to you all. Something that we pretty much guarantee to see in an early morning here at the Mara, but something that I will never tire of. Alleys and a beautiful sunrise. Just absolutely gorgeous. My name is Patrick. Joining me on camera today is James. We are coming to you live from the Masai Mara down in the southwest of Kenya. If you have any questions, any comments, you want to interact with us at all during this drive, well, that's a very good thing, and you can definitely do it using the hashtag SafariLive on Twitter, as we have this little baby trying to have a bit of a suckle there. So, about a minute ago, I was bursting with laughter. This little one was trying to cross a little bit of a water patch and got a little bit stuck. Luckily, all of the family came to its aid quite quickly and helped it out. But it was a very cute little scene to stumble upon this morning. This, of course, being the African elephant. Loxodontus, the genus. And the best way to start the morning, looks like they're going to come out in front of us here. Everybody is oohing and ahhing. Yes, it's the best. This one is a fresh little bubba. Very fresh indeed. One of the herd, the one I'm assuming is the matriarch. I'm just seeing if she may have walked off. This one behind the smaller one here, Patty's saying it's absolutely adorable. It fully is. So the one at the very back, the largest of the elephants, this is the first ever elephant I did a segment on in the Mara, and I can tell that because it has very long crisscross trunks. It is quite the tusker, and so it's good to see it. I always saw it with just one smaller elephant, and now it seems to have a whole herd with it. Very cool. You can see how protective they are all of the baby. All staying around it and keeping it on the inside of them all. Making sure there is no danger around it, and if there is, they're there to defend it. Smet's saying it's the best start to a safari. It really is, isn't it? It sets the pace for the day, having a nice elephant sighting here. And now it's even better because they've moved into that glorious, glorious backdrop of the sun rising up over the Mara. Now I'm just going to move forward a little bit. There is a car coming, so I'll just get around him. And say a good morning, if everybody would help joining me in saying it, Jambo. Jambo! And, glorious. How good is this? Absolutely epic stuff. Just soaking it all in right now. Now, we did have a question as well. I didn't quite catch the name, but that will be repeated. But it's how long do... Oh, hang on. Dos Santos is asking how long they suckle their young. So about, it'll be for quite some time. Up to, it'll start weaning off at about 2 years, but it can go up a little bit further than that. Just like with humans, some suckle for a long time and some not long at all. So yeah, there is a bit of variability, but it is a lot longer than a lot of other mammals up in that 2-year range. And they'll start to kind of wean off, but they will also start eating grass from quite an early age as well. I've seen some that look about 2 to 3 months old, successfully grazing as well, once they have control of that trunk. Alrighty, well, these guys wander off into the distance. I'm going to continue on now. I'm going to go on down a bit and check these lagers because I am trying my luck a lot today. I want to try and find a black rhino. So what I'm going to do is head down and just look around the thickets and the lagers because early morning, that is the best place to find a black rhino. And if that doesn't go to plan, well then I'm going to head back up. I've been very curious about my Owinos over the last couple of days. A, if they have made themselves a successful kill yet, and B, whether Butternut is reunited with a cub yet or not. Well, I mean, best case scenario, cubs, or hopefully just cub at least. But either way, I am quite invested in their whereabouts at the moment. Well, cool sightings all around this morning. It seems like Rusty has a very cool bird of prey.
Good morning, and welcome to Safari Live this morning. As you can see, this bird we have here is one of the indications that it's still very early in the morning and the sun has not even come up over the horizon. We call this a spotted eagle owl, and they're normally in pairs. There was another one there earlier, but he flew away. I can't tell the difference between the male or female, but they are amazing birds. These are one of my favorite birds, any of the owls. I think because we don't get to see them that often, they just have a fascinating life. But yes, we are still on infrared, and I do have the spotlight just underneath them. And the sun the horizon is just starting to glow. But yes, my name is Rusty, and I am here in Djuma. I'm not too sure if you've seen, and I have Sebastian behind the camera. So you all know him. Okay, and if you haven't already seen Sydney, he's out on drive this morning as well. He's in pursuit of the lions we heard this morning from camp. It was an amazing sound to wake up to. It's almost like the windows were vibrating. It was so loud, even when it was over my fan. Even though it is starting to get cool, the rooms are still very warm. But it's been an interesting morning. We've seen so many tracks of elephants crossing the roads. It hasn't stopped. The owls has flown away, but hey, that's just how it is. I don't expect them to hang around. They have to get back to a safe place and roost for the day. A lot of the diurnal birds seem to harass them if they stay out for too long. But yes, we're going to keep going and see what else we can pick up. I'm going to head down to one of the areas called Twin Dams, close by here, and see if there's any elephants hanging around there. And then if anything else, we'll just pick up tracks and see what else we can find. It's actually quite a cool morning. It's not too bad. It's actually quite refreshing, but winter is setting in, and we've just been hearing, I'm pretty sure it's the last few calls of the migratory birds that come to visit us for the summer, especially the woodlands kingfisher. It just feels like the other day when they arrived and it was the beginning of the warm season, which I always love. I'm not the biggest fan of winter because all you ever see of me is about this much of my face. Yeah, I have nothing to complain about when it comes to winter, but it's still not the best time of the year for me. We don't even get any, this is the dung on the road is all from elephants. I'm trying to dodge it. But normally normally crawling with dung beetles, but that's also an indication that the seasons are changing. We saw one dung beetle last night come flying in towards the light, but otherwise it's becoming very quiet. Life. I remember just at Christmas how many insects were just hovering around the lights, and just when we go sort out the cars in the morning, you have to close up your shirt because of the torchlight. They end up going down your shirt. It was crazy. But as the morning progresses, then as the season progresses, the insects disperse and their cycles start all over again somewhere. But yeah, the dung have dispersed. They've all rolled their balls of dung underground, and their larvae are probably in the mode of changing, pupating It does take a few months for that to happen, but I rather think I would like to go into hibernation mode or go up to East Africa where they barely have a winter. They do have winter, but it's still very mild compared to here. Going back to the lions this morning. Comms issue. Comms issue. I keep doing that. Okay, well, I'm going to head over to Sydney, who is following up on the unkuhumas that we heard this morning.
Good morning and welcome on board. This is Sydney Fumurani Mikosi and I'm traveling with Craig, who is my camera operator this morning. We are looking for the unkuhumas here and hopefully we might be lucky. It's just that the tracks are heading much more towards the neighboring properties. We hear the unkuhumas roaring just now, and for in case if you need my attention, you can follow us on Twitter, #SafariLive. You can also follow us on YouTube chat stream. So I've heard the unkuhumas about 20 minutes, 25 minutes ago. That was the last time they were roaring. They have been roaring all night long, and now the tracks got disappeared here by the Buffalo's Hook. But I'm trying to double check the same road, as it looks like it was a lot of them at the beginning, and at the end I'm only seeing the few tracks. Maybe others are still behind. I cannot believe these lions just got disappeared like this, because I have heard them. They were roaring nicely earlier here, about 20 minutes ago, 25 minutes ago. So I'm going to have to look carefully. So I'm heading back to the Galago pen, because that is where they split. I could see that they were lying down on the road somewhere there. So you can see they didn't spend much time by the other side of the property where they were. Maybe they are still looking for something to eat. As I have heard that the last time they were seen going into the private property, they were not that very full, so they were looking hungry. And they only spent a day there, and now they're out. They must be still looking for something. Sandra, the last time I have seen the unkuhumas, it was about 2 weeks ago. I saw them when they were at the fire break between Buffalo's Hook and Juma. That was the last time. The interesting part is the unkuhumas. If you find one, then you're going to find them all, because normally you'll find them walking as a pride. So they were here just now. We have just missed them here on this road. I can see that these tracks are very much fresh. When I started, I thought I was going to find them in less than 200 meters from this Viotella access, the road coming into the camp. Because that is where they were roaring from earlier. Samantha, that is quite a lovely question, how long these lions could go without having a meal. What I can tell you first is that here in the bush, everything is just unpredictable. These lions, they go out for hunting very often and they don't win all the time. It takes time. Normally, they will eat after 5-6 days, but that is also determined by the size of the animals they have caught last. So you can see if they catch something big like a buffalo, unkuhumas, you find them 11 mostly, against a fully grown buffalo. I think that is a nice meal. But if they catch something small, then it's not going to be enough for the whole pride to survive for about next 5-6 days. But they can go without eating at all. Cats can go for even 2 weeks, and after that is when you will start seeing the body depreciating. You will see them starting to lose the condition after 14 days and more. So they can be able to go for quite a long time. So now let's go back to Rusty, who is lucky with the baboons.
Did you find the nkumas or just...
No, not yet.
There's nothing more entertaining than watching a troop of baboons, especially in the early hours of the morning when they're not too sure what their plan is for the day. It is funny. In the middle of winter, they are so comical. I don't blame them because they climb up these trees to almost to the top to where they can catch the first rays of sun to be able to warm up. I don't blame them. That's what all of us do. We try to find the first bit of sun and try lie in it for as long as possible. But these ones are just starting that process. Although the sun hasn't quite broken the horizon yet, the youngsters here are just running around and just causing havoc. But the adults, as you can see, are just patient. A lot of patience. I get to see how I was as a child running around at like 5 o'clock in the morning while the parents are still sleeping in bed. It's just, come on. A bit of disciplinary action right there. Yeah, these kids can't keep still for a minute, but teenager baboons are they are funny to watch. They're so similar to humans, it's actually quite scary. But we came down here to Talamba was seen in the area, one of the young female leopards that hangs around here. And this is a clear example. She is no longer in the area, but that does not mean she's not been seen, because baboons also fall victim to leopard attacks, leopards do feed on baboons. So it's not all the time, but that many eyes open at this time in the morning means I don't think she's around here. She's still far too young to take on a baboon, but it does not mean she's not around. I don't think she is in the immediate area. We're just going to follow up on the tracks. So this troop, it doesn't actually look that large. I don't see many on the ground, but they normally average about 30, 40. Janet, I've got a question for you. You like the babies, or did you see? Yeah, I'm not too. What's it?
Yeah, it's a comment saying she likes.
Likes the babies. That's it. I love the baboons. I absolutely. The kids are amazing to watch. The young ones. Yeah, they are very entertaining. I like them too. How could you not? They keep you entertained for hours. If you can follow a troop all day, it takes some to get one troop of baboons get very habituated to humans. But once you do, you can follow them. Obviously, ones that are away from the city. The ones in city or long towns, especially in the Cape area, become a big problem. But that's due to humans feeding them. Even with the big sign saying, please do not feed the animals, you find a lot of people feeding them, and then the baboons become a bit of a problem. But if you can stay with the troop all day, it's amazing how many different sounds they make, and the interactions between the adults, the females, the youngsters, the teenagers, the babies. They're so tight, family bound, that if one has a problem, they all come in and help. If they see a predator, the alarm calls go out, and it's always the mothers with the youngsters go off first, and then the younger males stay back, and the big territorial males will stand up against that, whatever problem there is. Now if you look at a skeleton of a baboon, their fangs are massive. They're about the size, they're bigger than leopards when it comes to the length of them. They look more ferocious than they actually are, but that's, I think, part of what they actually need to be out here. They are at the bottom of the food chain, but survival in numbers keeps their numbers up. So, yeah, more eyes, more ears, and because they do stand their ground most of the time, they do have a higher chance of surviving. Now, if that one falls out the branch, I will look very funny and embarrassed. Yep. So this is our version of a teenager, this young one running in the top of the tree here. Lady Star Fire, I think it is. How big do baboons get? A full-grown baboon male can reach about 60 kgs on average. They can get even 50, 60 kgs. I'm not 100% sure, but it's about 70 kgs, 60, 70. So yes, they are very heavy. No, 50 kgs, sorry, I'm just mumbling on here. They're very stocky, but youngsters, 25, 30. The females get about 25, 30 kgs. But they are very agile. The tail obviously helps in balance. I can see one falling, but I suppose they have been climbing since they were born, so they are very, very capable primates hanging in the tree here. I've seen a few of them fall out the trees, don't get me wrong, they do it, but it's not often the case. I can see some disciplinary action happening soon. When they do end up getting disciplined, the screams they make it's quite harsh, especially in the early mornings when you're trying to sleep and you hear this screaming coming. You're not too sure if it's actually human or animal. But if you listen closely, if it's always followed by a bark or something, then you know something's up. Because they are very territorial, the males end up barking over a great distance just to establish their territories. And it's normally early hours in the morning, like at 4 o'clock. If you do have them roosting during the night near the camp, you seem to lose the disrespect. You do end up disrespecting them or just not liking them very much. And you do end up just going out and seeing if you can chase them away. As soon as you see them roosting in the evenings, you're like, come on, move to the next tree. I have many different ways of waking up in the morning. Being called by baboons, being woken up by baboons is not one of them. But I suppose there are worse ways of waking up. You do get alarms, vehicle alarms, dog barking, other noises. But I was woken up by the lions this morning, so that is one of the most amazing ways to wake up. A call of a baboon, the odd call is amazing, but if they do keep going on and on and on, especially when it's way before wake-up call, it drives me a bit insane. Nancy, how do baboons show affection? That is, if you watch them for a while, that you'll see how much they actually socialize with each other and how much just touching feeling that goes on. There's mutual grooming. There's, just as they are now, that's all part of playing as part of the affection as well. If a male, I don't know if you saw earlier, there was a female with a very swollen back end, which shows she's actually in season. So she is waiting for one of them. I'm sure she's been mated already, and as soon as she falls pregnant, the swelling goes down. But yes, it's normally just, you'll see them going up, like almost standing proud. Like, it's obviously a dominance stage. There's adult males, females, and obviously there's a hierarchy system. But you'll see even adult males or females or older siblings will go up to younger ones and like stand there like, come on, groom me. And then obviously there's a grooming process goes on. As you've seen, I'm sure, on a lot of documentaries with primates, how they sieve through the hair and pick out the mites. And I don't know what this one's planning to do. It looks like it's got a baby attached to it underneath. So yes, there's a lot of different interactions with each other and the hierarchy system. Sorry, that question got completely lost on me. I didn't hear anything.
Is it true that they use twigs to clean their teeth?
Fern, is that correct? Mm-hmm. Fern, is it that baboons use twigs to clean their teeth? I don't think so. I've never seen it, but I won't be surprised if they chew on things to help clean their teeth. but not for the fact that they want to clean it as like we want to clean our teeth for hygiene, and for the fact that we don't want to go to a dentist ever again. But for baboons, as far as I know, I don't think they use that kind of tool. I don't think they actually have a toothbrush per se. I can't see that their intelligence has reached that far. I don't know if you can hear that in the background. They're starting to make noises. I didn't quite get the name. What is it?
Coney Bear.
Coney Bear. Sorry, I'm having difficulty with my comms. Something's a bit there. How often do they fall from these heights, and how many times do they, how many times do they sustain injuries? That is difficult to say. I have seen them fall from actually quite high up, but they always seem like cats seem to land on their feet. They know what they're doing. I'm sure they've learned over the years how to maneuver around trees. Yes, it does happen. I've seen a fight that these baboons just scattered out of a tree, and there was mothers with babies like falling great heights, but they all seem to collect themselves quite quickly. Sustaining injuries, well, unless you see it actually happen, you do see, I don't know if anyone was on watching the sunrise safari yesterday morning with Pat and the baboons, and you saw one with a very gimpy leg. How that happens, I don't know. It could be from falling from great heights. It could be from injuries from predators. It could be a fight that they've had with somebody else. They are very similar to humans in that way. They do end up having fights within the family. Some of them does get quite aggressive sometimes. I'm not saying it's always with humans, but there are cases. So yes, injuries like that, I don't know how they sustain them. It could be from great heights. It could be from predators. It could be from each other. But look, you see how they are, the territories they're in, the areas they're in. It is quite a risky area to be in. So yes, these baboons have all left the roost for the day, and they are off foraging. I'm almost getting a bit hungry, but I've still got a few hours to wait till dinner. Okay, we are going to head over to the Mara and see what Pat is up to. Yep.
Well, I'm glad the baboons have been getting a bit of recognition this week. Obviously, I had that great baboon sighting the other day, and well done to Rusty for having a sighting with the Chagma baboons. They are hard to get a good look at. They're quite skittish and move away very quickly. I have only seen them twice in Juma in the 3 or so months that I have spent there thus far. So they are, pretty tricky. So good job, Rusty. Good old baboons. Obviously, they have the Chagma and we have the olive baboon, Papio anubis. So I have checked, there's 3 areas I want to check this morning for a black rhino, and I've ticked off number 1 with no luck as of yet, but I'm coming up to spot number 2 now. I'm looking in the areas of thicker vegetation, more trees and bushes, as the black rhino tends to be a browser, whereas the white rhino is more grazing. It's funny though, because we get more white rhinos down in Juma and more black rhinos, way more black rhinos up in the Mara, but I don't know, it's strange because black rhinos prefer to browse, and so you would think that they would be in habitats with denser vegetation, whereas we get the white rhinos who you would think would prefer more open habitats because of the fact that they graze, but we get them more in Juma. So it's like that cheetah-leopard conversation I have quite a bit, where cheetahs prefer open habitats, so you'll find them more in the Mara, whereas leopards you'll find more in Juma because it's denser, but it's kind of reverse of that. So it's a little bit funny. It always gets me as well how the 2 species were named, because the fact that the white rhino, it was because they thought it was very wide, and so they called it Veit, which means wide in, I think that's Afrikaans, don't quote me on that. And so then it sounded like white, and then what's the opposite of white? Black. Let's name the second species a black rhino. So I'm just coming through this bush bit through here. Swift, the first animal I saw in the Mara was, well, the first thing I kind of saw in the Mara was, so we have to take a plane from Nairobi to get into the Mara. It's this tiny little aircraft. It's got about 8 seats in it, and obviously it flies very low, so you still get a very good view of the landscape. And just out of the corner of my eye, I noticed a bit of commotion on the ground. It was a pride of about 11 or 12 lions chasing down a zebra. It was very cool. So that was my introduction to the Mara. I hadn't even landed or set foot in the Mara, and I saw a brief snippet of a lion hunt. I didn't get to see much of it, but I saw them chasing the zebra. I have no idea whether they were successful or not. But yeah, that was my first kind of sighting in the Mara. And then obviously when we landed, there's quite a lot of Thompson's gazelle and zebra and wildebeest at that time, because it was just after migration. There was still a lot around. And so there was a lot of those sorts of animals once we got off the plane. And then, yeah, training drive with Steph. We saw 2 dead giraffe carcasses, all swamped by vultures and various other scavengers. And then a black rhino as well, which I haven't seen since and will hopefully see this morning. Now I'm just trying to think what the first animal I ever saw in Juma was. I think it was a giraffe. No, it wasn't a giraffe. Maybe it was an elephant. Yeah. Yes, on the drive in when we just came through the park. Oh, got a few little hyenas here. Hello. Let's stop and say good morning to these hyenas resting here in the sunlight. Looks like 2 adults and what seems to be a sub-adult laying down. See, it's looking a bit scruffy there. Resting it very peacefully in the morning sun as it's just starting to poke through and dance nicely off of their fur there. Crowcutter, another very easy taxonomic name to remember. The spotted hyena, crowcutter. Just the same word repeated twice. I quite enjoy reading taxonomic names like that, because some of them can just be an absolute mouthful and very hard to commit to memory. Linda says, oh, cute, it is. They are cute animals, the hyenas. Obviously, they get a bit of a bad rap from the movie Lion King, and people think that they're scavengers only and that they just come in and steal food all the time, but it's definitely not the case. They are very social animals, very intelligent animals, great at problem solving, great at working in a group, and you can tell that they learn. One example of this is the cubs and young will quite often come up and sniff around a car and get a bit curious, and as they get older and older, they just learn that you're just there to observe. Well, perhaps that's not what they think, but at least they think that you are nothing to worry about. They know the car, they've sniffed it in a younger life. Well, not maybe that specific car, but you know, they know what vehicles are and what humans are, and tend to just relax a lot more. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Lauren is actually out with the hyena girls, the hyena research team we have over here. She's out doing observations with them this morning, which is awesome. Giraffe Girl is asking which clan is usually found in this area. Well, we are kind of to the north, but we are a bit away from the North Clan. I'm not actually too sure, to be completely honest. So we have the North Clan, the Happy Zebra Clan, and the South Clan, but they're all kind of away from where we are at the moment. So, I'm not exactly sure which clan these ones would be from. I'm sure Lauren would be able to shed light. She's been all hyenas since she's been here. She's really taken a liking to them. Yeah, learned quite a bit about them. I need to spend more time with them, actually. I haven't even been up to the North Clan since I have been back in the Mara. Was up there quite a bit when I was first here. But, yeah, should probably get around my hyenas a little bit more, but at the moment my focus is these Owinos. Just trying my hardest to piece together their story. Oh, there's a couple more ahead of me here as well. Anyway, these are not black rhino, and they are what I am searching for at the moment. So, whilst I continue my search amongst the trees, I believe Rusty has already found something in the trees.
Well, as the baboons disappear off to go foraging before the sun is even up, these battlers have not got the hint yet, but they're actually waiting for the sun to heat up, and maybe they'll catch the thermals later. So I think they're just waiting for the heat of the day to be able to head up into the skies. For all of those who don't know what these are bachelor eagles. This is a male and female sitting next to each other. And on the left-hand side, there's actually a third one. Now, I think these three need to become part of the characters because we have seen them almost on almost daily to regular basis on most of the drives. They seem to be hanging around this area. They have been known to be nesting in this area, and they are building another nest. Well, I did see them mating the other day on one of the drives. I'm still not too sure which one, if this is a youngster or just an add-on, to see if maybe it's a submissive male that wants to hopefully get lucky with the female, but it's highly unlikely because they are normally in pairs. They normally pair for life, mate for life. So I'm pretty sure it's just last year's chick that's hanging, not even last year's chick, because last year's chicks are normally brown in color. So it takes about 7 to 8 years to mature into a full adult plumage. As you can see, it's black with a red face, white wings, and grey shoulders. So yes, for that other one, it's already in full plumage, so it could easily be over 6, 7, 8 years old already. So I'm not too sure what the interaction is here. It might just be one of the older chicks that's hanging around and just hoping for an easy meal. Battler eagles are not like true eagles where they hunt food. Although, yes, they do hunt food, but they are very clumsy, as with other birds of prey that fly out the sky and like crash into or just hunt birds or rabbits or hares. These eagles rely more on scavenging, so they are some of the first birds of prey, birds to find, let's say, carcasses. They have a brilliant eyesight like all raptors, and they are often found around kills. But as soon as the vultures move in and the tawnies, that they seem to move out because they are a lot smaller than the vultures and might get picked on. And because they do have this very clumsy flight when it comes to taking off from the ground, they always seem to get out the way before they get any interaction with their larger birds of prey. If they do open up, if you actually go to the right, to the other two, you'll see how the wings go way past their tail. It's because they actually don't use their tail. They don't have a very long tail like other birds of prey that use it for balancing and for when they come and dive after a prey. They use their tail for for stabilization. These birds do not need that, these battlers. Their short tail pretty much they just actually rely on gliding for catching thermals. And then if they're often actually also on road kills. if somebody runs over a tortoise, that's sadly the case, or runs over a lizard, you often find them coming and picking up that. Or even when the insects are out, they'll go like to a termite mound and pick up flying ants. But otherwise, they end up either sitting. See, you can even look at their claws, their talons. How if you see, like, let's say a tawny eagle or martial eagle, crowned eagle, their feet, their talons are massive and they're used for grasping. Most of their kills for other eagles, they use their talons to kill their prey or grab it. These ones just use it for roosting. Sometimes you do see like stepping on something that's already dead and then using it as leverage. But otherwise, they don't use their talons for much else except for roosting. But they are. Their bills are very sharp. Yeah, the bills are very sharp and they are used for pulling apart whatever they are eating. But obviously, I'm going to stay around with them for a bit longer and see if they take off. The sun is just starting to peek up over the horizon. We're a bit low in the dip to see that, but they will take to their air shortly. Okay, we're going to send you back over to Patrick, who has found some lions in the Mara.
What a wonderful sight I have right in front of me. We have about 10 grey-crowned cranes together, and behind them there is a whole heap of lions as well. So, very awesome to come across. I've never seen so many grey-crowned cranes in the one place at the one time. They are a monogamous species and will mate for life. And so you will often see them in pairs, but to see this many together is a real treat, especially seeing as there's lions in the background. Very cool stuff. Now the lions do seem to be moving off somewhere. I'm not sure whether they are moving to the shade or moving to perhaps initiate a hunt, but seeing as they are walking towards the bushes, I think they might be going for a rest. There is a spot over there where I found them the other day. Whoop! Cool. Oh, this might be a nuptial dance we have going on here. So the nuptial dance is when a male and a female will start bobbing and putting their wings out. Both the males and females are involved. That was very cool. Such a beautiful bird. Definitely up there with one of my favourite birds to see. So much so that I'm even blowing off a little bit of lion time just to be with them. To be with them in such a high density is just so cool. And it is anyone's guess what they are picking up off the ground and eating right now. They have a very general diet. They are omnivorous and will eat a very wide variety of both grasses, roots, seeds, insects, other invertebrates. They also have a gular sac under the neck, which if anyone knows of the saddlebill stork, and they have the wattles under the neck, well, it's similar to this, except it can be inflated. See it there, sitting under their head. Now, they do have feet that will allow them to roost, but they won't set up their nests in trees. They will set them up in a long grass, generally near water. They want grass that's just long enough to that they can stick their head over and see, but enough to conceal the nest. Awesome stuff. All right, I'm going to move around to these lions now that we have soaked in that sighting. So cool. So very, very cool. So, everybody's loving the lion and crane dynamics. Yes, it's very awesome to see them just moving around one another. Now this is turning out to be one of my favourite places to come in the Mara, because this is right near where I had that mongoose and baboon sighting the other morning. I've also had plenty of lion sightings. Hello, Mr. Jackal. Oh, got a marabou stork up on my left here as well. Cool birds everywhere this morning. So just have a quick look at this marabou stork, because I haven't ever shown one to you all on telly. I mean on live, on wherever you're watching from. Now, unfortunately for this bird, marabou does mean ugly or unattractive, but I think they're a pretty cool bird. Often seen around carcasses. Big, the legs almost look out of proportion to that fat body as it wanders out of frame there. So I'm just seeing where these lions have gotten to. This is a no off-roading zone, so we have to take the paths around to get to them, but I know that there is one that comes in to where they are heading. Hold on, everyone. Whoop, whoop. So many warthog out there. If the lions do want to hunt, they have some options. Impala as well. It looks like I'm going to have to come in around, so the lions are heading sort of this way. Well, I continue my very, very short lion search that I know is going to end in success. Let's go see how Sydney is doing with his lion hunt.
I am now heading much more towards the eastern side, and I've just heard that Tandy has spotted somewhere this side, has been spotted somewhere this side, and I am going to try my luck for that sighting. So I am heading towards the treehouse dam area. That is where Tandy is doing something there as I'm talking to you. There's some other guys around that area. So it will be great seeing Tandy. I have not seen Tandy for a while as well. So we are not very far away from where the sighting is. I just want to confirm where exactly, but we are heading towards that area. Aubrey, come in. Okay, copy that. Now the sighting is still there. We are going to probably see Tandy time soon from now. So I'm sure she's very much stationary. A lot of fresh elephant droppings here. Thank you very much for all these beautiful comments about us going to see Tandy. So the chances are 98%. So let's hope the elephants don't distract the sighting, because the tracks are going much more towards the area where Thandi is. I can even see her tracks here somewhere. It means it's for the time when she was heading towards the tree house dam area. So Talamba was also spotted in the very same area yesterday. So you can see that maybe Thandi and Talamba has been together day before yesterday, as I also heard that there were two tracks on the road showing that they were together. So the area where Thandi is now is more or less the same area Talamba was spotted yesterday late afternoon. So when the sun is at the horizons, when the sun is coming out, sometimes it can get very bright, and which makes it very difficult to track. Stage, I don't have a problem because the sighting has already been established. Paula, Thandi is not a lion. Thandi is one of the leopards here. Thandi, we call her normally the Queen of Juma, is the mother to Talamba I was talking about. So you will see her is one of those very beautiful and skillful female leopards. So we are not far away from where she is at the moment. Somewhere here down by this drainage is where the sighting is. So now let's go back to Patrick by the Masai Mara and see some lions.
Well, these lions have given me a bit of a slip. As I said, I am in a no off-roading zone, and where they have gone has been devoid of any paths. I thought I was going to be able to come around and intercept them, but they must have just gone deeper into the bushes. So I'm going to just do one more lap around and just see if I can pick back up on them before I resume my black rhino search. Now, I didn't get a good look at which pride this one was, but I mean, we're closest to Uluru territory. It did seem to be like there was a fair few lions, but we also found a large pride around here the other day that no one could really confidently say who it was. I thought it was the Ululus, but others seemed to think differently. So really hoping they do decide, they went down sort of into the river almost. There's a lot of hippos down in that river. Doubt they would be hunting them though, because I was just down by it and they were all huddled together in one patch of water. It's not unheard of it though. The other day I saw a video from the Mara. It happened the other day in the Mara actually, where I believe hyenas killed the hippo actually. I think it was the hyenas that hunted the hippo and then lions came in to try and take it. So it was a very interesting video clip to watch. It would have been awesome if it was us there that got that sighting. I think I would have absolutely lost it in excitement. Just even that sighting the other night with the jackals versus hyenas was adrenaline enough. Ravinda wants to know, were those the Owino or Olololo lions? Well, as I just said, I'm not exactly sure which pride this is. I'm guessing the Olololos. It's definitely 100% not the Owinos. We are far too far out of their territory, and there was way more than 5 adults there. So if I had to hazard a guess, I would say the Olololos. But then again, as I said, no one could really confidently say last time I was around lions in this area. I'm really, really hoping that they do keep on going in the direction that they were coming and I can intercept them here. Oh yes, there we go. Yoo! Very nice. Alright, looks like they are heading... There was a hippo here last time I was here, and it is right near where the lions are, but it looks like it's gone down. But it looks like they're going to come down to the river, so I'm going to head on down. Well, I am not the only one with big cats right now. It seems as if Sydney Fumalani Makosi has found Tundi.
So we do have Tundi at the moment here in the area, and we are just trying to see her better. She's somewhere here behind these bushes going down towards the drainage line. So the chances of us seeing her nicely from this angle, they are very much high. Yeah, here she is. You can see she is right here going down the drainage line. So it looks like she is looking at something, but I can't see what exactly because she's facing the drainage line. She's looking very healthy. You can see the white tip of the tail there, nice and bright, in order to make the little one to follow. So we can just see the tail waving there, but we can't see that cat anymore. So I'm just gonna reposition at the moment so that we can improve this sighting. It looks like I'm gonna have to go to the other side of the drainage. So now let's go back to the Pride of Lions with Patrick in the Masai Mara.
Very cool. So we have intercepted these lions here, and they are moving very close to us right now. They are on the move. This is the shady spot I thought that they might come, but they're actually walking right past it. Hopefully on a mission. They're not looking completely unfed, but they do look like they could use a bit of a feed. So we have two coming right in front of me. This looks to be a young male right here, and well, it looks like a female on the left. This young male coming up very nice and close. Hello, mister. How are you? How are you this morning? Very, very cool. Looks to be about 18 months, maybe. Yeah. Just starting to get that little bit of scruff developing around the neck there. We have another male come across the front. Wow, this is quite a big pride. There's still more to come as well. This one has a bit more of a developed mane. I'm still thinking this might be the Olololos. Very, very awesome stuff right here. So I wonder where it is they are heading. They're kind of moving it through these bushes right now. Looks like one may have gone flat. So Chicken asks, what is an average lion's lifespan? Well, the males will actually tend to live a bit less longer than the females. So a male lion, you can expect to be up to about 10 years old, and then females kind of about 12 to 14 years old. This is because male lions do face a pretty tough life as opposed to females. Females do tend to stay within their pride, and so they will stay in their pride, and that gives them a bit more protection and a bit more opportunities when it comes to hunts, whereas males, unless they form a coalition, have to go nomadic and then fight amongst other males, and sometimes this can mean going out and hunting on their own. We've got another two young males coming through now. So oh no, the one at the front was a young female, sorry. So, but still, another young male there. So this is even more making me think that it is the Olololos that we have here. It would make sense, as this is the closest we are, the closest territory we have at the moment. So I'm just going to move around now as the whole pride has moved past the front of me there. Awesome morning thus far. Very awesome indeed. The hippo, obviously, it was sitting just there when I came to look for these lions last, and so it's obviously moved off in fear. And I think it may have even been that same hippo we saw down here the other day. Well, there is a straggler, actually, just down by the river there. One of the lions lagging behind. Many in this pride. Excuse me. Hello. A whole heap of helmeted guinea fowl in front of me here. Oh, it always cracks me up watching them run along in a group. They're almost like little chickens. They have a very beautiful colour to them though. Those very fine white dots all over them. It's cool to look at up close. Come on, move, move, move. Thank you. Cool little bird. So, whoa. These lions are making it difficult for me. They have moved through a very thick area. I can just see the last two that were down by the river coming through now. So I'm just gonna head in the direction that they were heading, well, around in front of the direction that they are heading, and hoping that they do emerge the other side of this thicket here. Speaking of, I've been listing off all the taxonomic names today. The one for lions is also a very easy one to remember. Panthera leo. Quite simple. Panthera, if you just think of panthers, is a good way to remember. They are also a cat. And then Leo, well, a three-letter word. Not that hard to remember at all. Still can't see them emerging. It's the only thing about this area. Minamu is asking what makes a lioness roar. Well, it's not so much a roar, but you will hear that, well, it is a roar actually, contact calling. So that will be to find either pride members or their cubs, but they will also roar in warning. I've seen them roaring at other lions in a bit of warning, just to say, keep away. That was with cubs at the time. James, oh yeah, James has visuals, nice. Oh, hang on, let's get a bit of a two-shot going on here if we can. So we've got this hippo here, wallowing, and then the lion in the background, and some sacred ibis, and what looks to be black-headed heron as well. Sorry, hippo, if we startled you. I didn't mean to. Is that an Egyptian goose there as well, I think? The lion in the background there is watching this hippo. But nothing to shake a stick at there. This obviously is a very young pride, a little bit inexperienced. So what are these lions up to? They do seem to be moving through the bushes here. Well, these beautiful scenes keep unfolding here. There's also many beautiful scenes unfolding back down in Juma. Sydney has managed to catch up with our little princess. No, Tundi, not our little princess, sorry.
So you can see she is right here, and we are keep following at the moment. Look at that. She is just doing some demarcation there at the moment. I can see that she is, oh, she's jumping up into that tree now. This is so cute. She wants at least a high elevation. Don't get surprised, I'm not alone. I'm just putting forward so that the other guys can also see her nicely. You can see that she wants to have at least a good advantage of the high elevation so that she can spot far. So, but because of the thickness of the bush, I don't think she can be able to see that far. So I'm going to have to reposition here at the moment so that we can have a better visual. Look at that. She's coming down again at the moment. You can see that. Yeah, this other cars were spotting her from the other side, and now I'm just going to reverse and find a best spot so that we can see her coming down from that little branch. She's just keep marking her territory. I can see she's renewing the scent all the time. This is so beautiful. She is passing by right in the middle of the bushes here in front of us, and not too sure where exactly she is going and what her plans are for this morning. She's going to lead us to where she is going, and we might see something interesting this morning. Oh, she's right here. So the leopards can easily get camouflaged, and when lying down flat, it can be very much difficult. So I don't want to lose this sighting. I'm just going to keep following and making sure that we don't lose her. So it's just that the block here where we are is quite very thick. She is coming. Rosie, indeed, this is a stunning leopardess. This leopardess got disappeared somewhere here. The bush is so very much thick here, so that is why I don't want to wait much longer before I follow her. But she just got disappeared somewhere here. The grass is very tall, and the green trees can easily hide a big leopard. I'm trying to check everywhere here. So maybe we are going to reallocate her again here. She was not going too fast. She was very much slow. Oh, yes, she is right here. So she's right here. So we just got here now. You can see there she is. So she easily got disappeared right next to us. You can see how she's concentrating, that she is trying to get the information about what is happening in the surrounding from that side. So I'm going to have to reposition again, because again she went deep in the tall grass. So I must have to keep following again. So it's never easy to follow a leopard. By this time of the year, when the bushes has recovered and nice and thick like this, it becomes difficult. So now, while I am looking for the better spot, we can cross over to the Masai Mara where Patrick is waiting.
Tundi, she loves keeping us on our toes. I think just about every guide has been given the Tundi slip before, so much so that it's even got its own name. But I'm sure Sydney will do a great job of keeping up with her. She's just always on the move, that one. Now, I've also kind of been given a bit of the slip from the rest of the pride. I can only see this one lioness here. The rest have kind of disappeared into the bushes. They were coming along the edge in the grass, being nice and letting us get a good look at them, and now, well, it's anyone's guess as to where they have gone. They may be back down towards the river or hiding in the bushes somewhere. I don't really know. They were heading along here, so they must have pushed in, because otherwise they would be in front of us here. And of course, this area, no lions. So, well, at least we have one to look at. And they did seem to be on the move. As I said, they didn't look overly full as well. So it might be worth just staying around here a little bit longer in the hopes that we might get a hunt. There is plenty of options for the lions out here. There's warthogs, there's impala, saw some buffalo, but they were quite some distance away actually, but topi, all kinds. I don't think they would be able to get a gazelle, and I don't think that would be substantial, anywhere near substantial for a pride as large as this one. So I think I've counted about 10, but as they have been moving in and out of the bushes, it has been a little bit difficult to keep tabs. I think about 10, it seems, when they all walked across in front of me. I'm just going to move back now and just see if I can pick up on the rest of them. Or maybe I should move. Looks like this road comes around. Actually, I might go forward then. I'm going to go forward. Looks like this road comes in a bit, so I might be able to pick back up on them down there. Yoo-hoo! Yeah, kitty kitty! Come out! I don't know why I'm talking in this voice. Too many green teas this morning. I gotta keep you entertained somehow while I try and pick back up on these lions. Oh, nice. It's like this comes in around the river as well, so even if the lions aren't there, we will get probably a look at a lot of hippos. Just going to move around here very cautiously in case they are in the bushes right next to me. Well, Rusty is all about the birds this morning. It seems like he has found some more down in South Africa. Let's go see what species it is.
That is right. I am all about the birds this morning. I just seem to have the luck with them. I don't mind it. I love birds. And this stork, we all know, or I know it as the white stork. Some of you in Europe who might be watching might be familiar with it, as they do migrate all the way up to North Africa, all the way into Europe. And they are actually, I won't be surprised in the next few weeks if they leave and migrate up there. But they also they often move to migrate for the nesting grounds to find better pastures, or greener pastures, because as the grass dies here, so do the insects disappear. But this is actually, I haven't seen many white storks around this year. I've seen some disturbing articles online about storks being shot as target practice as they migrate over the northern parts of Africa. But actually, when I know Kenya's been getting a lot of rain recently, and I was up there over Christmas and New Year, and I saw thousands of them covering the grasslands there. So I can understand why they don't come all the way down here. But I've also read an article about obviously how seasons are changing and how climate is changing and how some birds are nesting there, which is very unusual since they actually migrate to go for the nesting grounds. But it is nice. I would love to have the storks all year round. So I'm pretty sure these ones will be moving out shortly. It's actually, I'm still surprised. It's actually warming up quite quickly, and I'm sure they would have actually moved off. But if anything, they might actually be already on the way on the migratory patterns, on the migratory route. So I've seen storks flying. It was full moon last night for anyone who didn't go outside, and they have seen storks fly even throughout the night, especially on full moons. So they might have just been passing through, or might have been flying through the night and decided to take roost. It's often you find them on dead trees. It's easy to land, supports them. And I'm guessing the tree they are on is actually a leadwood tree, which actually can stay standing for up to a good 80, 90 years before collapsing. So it becomes quite a common roost for a lot of the larger birds, such as storks. I'm just trying to see if I'm pretty sure they are all white storks. Sometimes you get a mix of other storks in between them, but yep, they're all white storks. Yes. Oh yeah, they are stunning. Look, we've got many varieties of storks here. The largest one being the marabou stork. I'm sure many of you might have seen some already. If not, there are these large birds. They stand a good 1.5 meters off the ground, and they've got this very strong bill, and the males have got these dangly dewlaps, and they are carrion eaters. They often hang around carcasses. They're not the most attractive birds out there, but if you see a lot of them together and you see the way they take off, they are massive, massive birds. And then you go from there, you go down to the yellow-billed stork, the white stork, the abdomen storks, which also are migratory storks that come in here. The saddle-billed stork is beautiful, absolutely one of the most exotic storks we have. Not exotic storks, the most beautiful storks. Black and white, and then they've got this bill with the black, red, and this yellow saddle. It's like just on the ridge of the nose, and it's like a yellow saddle that sits there. They're often around the water sources, especially marshlands, dams, especially in winter when the dams dry up and you find a lot of the fish get congregated or trapped in the mud. These saddle-billed storks are often seen around there, and it's a time of plenty for them. While these guys mostly migrate, the saddle-billed storks do not, and are often hanging around dams. Because these storks do not hang around water, although they do hang around like marshlands sometimes. They do like more open grassy areas to catch the insects or small vertebrae that hang around there. I've never seen a nesting site of white storks. I would like to. I'm actually going to read more about them nesting in the Western Cape there, or the Eastern Cape. Just find out a bit more about that, because I didn't actually know they nested here. But it's understandable. There's a lot of birds that are hanging around that don't migrate anymore, which is how the world works now. But that's why we're out most days, looking up, seeing what else changes, and bring it to you live to see what else changes in the world, what climate change can do or can't do, or what is happening. I can't speak to what's really happening out there. I sometimes don't really want to know what the world is doing. Just take each day as it comes. This one we're looking at now, it actually looks like a juvenile, or a very, very dirty one. I'm pretty sure it's actually a juvenile from this last season. But he's preening himself. They're normally like this very, very clear white above the wings. Okay, well, I don't think they'll be moving off anytime soon. We are going to head up to Patrick in the Mara with lions. I am going to be staying with the birds.
Well, a lot of storks this morning, a lot of cool birds all around. Good on you, Rusty. It's nice to have a few birds thrown into the mix, especially when we have birds like the white stork and the grey crowned crane and the marabou stork. So still with this lion, so I did drive around a little bit and I can see a few more of the pride, but they have gone very flat in this long grass here. And so we could only see some ears and some tails really. So I'm going to stay with them for just a little bit longer, just to see if they do decide to get up and move. But obviously as the day progresses, that is less and less likely to happen. You just never know, especially because we are in an area of such high food availability. It is worth just waiting. But if they don't, I will move up and try and find these owinos. Now, there is the third spot that I wanted to check for the black rhino is on the way there as well. So I'll be able to do that as well. So still got those other morning plans in mind should these lions decide to stay flat, which it kind of looks like is happening. The whole pride is scattered amongst the bushes and the grass, laying down. It looks like they may have been settling in as well. But still, a nice little surprise to find here. Always getting little surprises when I come down to this area. The area is kind of in between a spot called Little Governors and the Kitchewa airstrip, which is kind of a bit sort of northwestish from our camp. Now, we have a comment saying it's looking very well fed. Well, I can't actually see the tongue, but it's looking like a very nice looking lioness, isn't it? One of the older ones I have seen in this pride. A lot of them were kind of young juveniles and sub-adults. But yes, looking very nice. It's a bit of it's a real kind of line when it comes to pride numbers and survival. Obviously, there is the advantage of having more numbers to make successful hunts, but then once that reaches a point, it becomes too many mouths to feed as this one moves into the shade. And so, so if there's plenty of food, a big pride can be quite successful, but once that food availability starts to go down a little bit, that's when things can change and you may see some fighting and also some breaking off in the pride. Well, it seems like these lions have all been put to rest, so I am going to move off and continue my search for black rhinos and owinos. Seems like Sydney has relocated Tundi though. Good times.
I've got some communication problems here. So now I have got Tandy still. It's just that Tandy, she's just keep moving all the time. And now she is moving much more towards this side. She was pretty much relaxed earlier, but now again she's on the move. She's just listening and then taking action and move forward. All the time she moves around, stops and listen and go. So she is now somewhere this side. She just got disappeared here, and please don't get surprised. I am still not alone here at the sighting. I do have the other vehicles. And I think now she is moving much more towards the drainage line. You can see her right there. It's not an easy sighting this morning. This is not an easy sighting. She just got disappeared somewhere here now. I am trying by all means to see if we can still find her, but it looks like she got disappeared right here. Yeah, you can see her going down there. You can see she's right going deep in those bushes. So here I'm going to have to work very hard in order to reallocate her because it's very much thick where she's heading to at the moment. You can see the tail moving there a little bit now. She got disappeared. I'm going to have to change now and go around and see if we can see her very nicely from the other side. So let's hope she doesn't get disappeared by these thick bushes. Maybe she's gonna come out by the open space there, as there is an open space by the corner. Just around the corner from here to that side, there is a very nice open space. There is so we just have to take a long road to go around to where she's heading to at the moment. So I can't see anything from here where I am. I'm trying by all means to look at the same spot. Hey. So now, let's quickly cross over to Rusty.
Well, as I was about to say, I don't have a bird, but then a little button quail flies up in front of me. But I am on the search for Tulamba or any tracks or sign of her. I kept thinking that I know the reserve almost inside and out, but I've just found a new road, or Seth actually guided me onto a new road. I'm like, oh, this is a new place. We had a little terrapin just to the side of us. We'll see if it pops up. We just followed this drainage line for the last, let's say, 20 minutes, half an hour, just trying to find any tracks. It is warmed up, and she was last seen in this area. And we're going from one watering hole to the next along to see if we find any tracks of her around here, but so far no luck. But this little water source here is actually buzzing with all these little insects coming up to drink. We're not too sure if we're going to get more rain. I hope we do, but little water sources like this are a big source of life for everything right now. There's probably a lot of larvae in there that are growing and feeding on each other. This is when it becomes quite a cannibal part of the system now, when they are fighting for the last bit of water that's around, and they have to grow, pupate, and then get into an adult stage as quickly as possible before that water dries up. I can't see any tracks in there apart from the terrapin that just walked in. It looks like elephants were here yesterday or last night. There's actually a fresh track just on the other side. They came down here and had a bit of a splash around. And the water is still very murky, so they did disturb it. I just felt bad for that little terrapin that went in when there's a whole bunch of big feet trampling around in there. It's often the case especially when the roads get flooded or where there's a lot of puddles, how vehicles go through and they end up accidentally squashing a terrapin in there. And most of them do survive because they end up getting squashed in the mud. But then I go in and go help them out when I drive along and just you just feel a bit bad for them. So I can think it's the same feeling when they're in a small puddle like this, and there's a herd of like 30 elephants come in and try and take over that small puddle. I think it's quite stressing for this little guy. But terrapins are very hardy and survive in the most harshest conditions. Yeah, we're just going to keep going. I'm quite excited to see this new road and see if we find any other tracks around. But yeah, we are coming up to the end of it apparently. But water is life. So I know Tandi, Columba's mother, was seen this morning. I think Sydney's actually, every time he gets close or sees her, she seems to be disappearing. I hope, but Tandi's got a reputation apparently for doing that. Just at the last minute, as soon as the camera zooms in and you get settled, she moves, which is fair enough. You can't ask him to hang around. But hopefully Talamba makes an appearance. I still have not found any tracks of her, but I've been distracted by birds, which is quite easily done with me. It's a habit that's I've had since high school or since school, when of course when I sit next to the window in class and a bird flies past, I lose all attention on the teacher and it goes to the bird, which I think my mother will still cringes about today, and why I seem to have not finished high school. But yes, there's other smaller interactions out there, small birds or any bird that flapped across the window. Yeah, we will be slowly meander towards the hyena den. There has been very little activity around there in the last few days. It is coming up to that time where the hyenas will be moving den. It is smelling very bad around there. There is a lot of cubs, so the smell and the parasite buildup will be quite intense. So we'll go past there and see if there's any activity. And then on the way back we might pass where the Ingahumas were heard this morning. Only tracks were seen, but I'm not too sure which direction they were heading, but it's always fun to, once you find the tracks, to follow up. It's always a good thing to see what they've been up to during the night. Oh, if I could actually repeat the morning from like 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, I would do that every morning, or for the whole rest of the day. Just repeat 6 to 7, 6 to 7. That light and the sounds of that morning chorus, you can't beat it. And obviously if it's a clear day, it's even better. A cloudy day, not so much. But as that sun just comes over the horizon, and just the noise, the sounds, the feeling, that coolness, knowing that it's going to get warm. I'm still in a jacket, but in the next 10 minutes I'll be taking it off. Yeah, it's just this golden glow that comes over. You get the morning, the golden hour in the evening, which is also another best time of the day. But that morning, I am a morning person, so I leapt out of bed like 4 o'clock, like 20 minutes before my alarm. And can unexperienced riders go on horseback safaris? There's always these horse questions, but yes. Or the dangerous game, you need to be experienced. Obviously, if something happens on the ride, especially since horses are flight animals, you need very good experience to stay on the horse and get the horse to do what you say. But yes, all operations that I know, operators that ride in big or dangerous areas, you need to be very advanced rider. I do have sorry, just stopping here and just going to warm up a little bit in the sun. You will find that there is a lot of riding places where you can ride with, let's say, just with rhino, or with the other game, giraffe, zebra, impala, kudu, where you will find riders. They'll take non-riders, family groups of riders, family groups. But when it comes to any of the dangerous game, you need to be advanced. And it does vary quite a bit, and if you go through an agent, that's even better, because they'll give you every detail that you need. Or if you do have a family that enjoys riding but is not really good at it, then they will send you on to that particular direction. Where I came from, the previous job, sorry, I've got flies flying in my face. I don't need a swatter. Where I was riding before, we only take advanced riders, which is fair enough because it's a very risky, dangerous place to be, a place to ride. So it's a high-risk area. So I rather... Look, riding the horse is risky enough. I love it. A lot of riders do love it. That's why we ride. But you can just have a stupid accident just from riding. But riding in a dangerous game increases your chance of something bad happening. Doesn't mean it always happens. It just means it can happen. You are right. Like we say, driving around here, you bump into an elephant that's in musk. When an elephant is in must, you have to judge that situation. Of a vehicle, there's a lot more respect with a vehicle. With horses, you have to control the horse as well as the animal. Not control the animal, but your horse is going to react to the animal. So you have to have you've got to multitasking, like 3 things at once. You've got to worry about the clients. Obviously, your clients are your priority. You've got to worry about the horses. How's the horses reacting to the animal? And a lot of animals react to how the horses are reacting, and then it builds up from there. So in case a horse does spook, what does happen, and takes off, then we need that's why we take very good riders, because that rider needs to be saying, hey, no, and bring the horse back into the group. So it does happen. Okay, I'm going to keep going and see if we can get to the den site, and we're going to head over to Patrick in the Mara.
Well, I've just hit a little bit of a roadblock here in front of me. I found a young little elephant just peacefully browsing and now grazing on the side of the road. How are you this morning? Very nice stuff. I'm just going to sit here for a while with this one and we can enjoy its company. Just a little bit closer to the road to move past it right now. But when I first pulled up, it did give me a little bit of a head shake. We can see it's a bit more relaxed now. You can see that because the food is, well, actually going into its mouth and it's swallowing it. A lot of the times with elephants, if they are feeling pretty uncomfortable, they will sort of just pretend to feed. They will, maybe not even pretending, might not even be the right word for it, but they will just not be as focused on feeding as they should be, and therefore you'll see a lot of the grass start to fall out of the mouth or sometimes not even reach the mouth. This one still looks to be relatively young, but it's not here on its own. There were a few more just behind us as well. And now let me just stay quiet for a little and let's hear the sounds of it feeding. Oh, I think there's one creeping in the background here as well, just behind the bushes. Oh, sorry, my head was just in the way there. Very peaceful stuff, isn't it? Being this close to an elephant, peacefully grazing here. So the elephants here are very lucky in that they have a lot of wet food to feed on. Well, here comes the rest of the fam. Hello. Nice, it's coming up very close right now. Sorry for my head there, everyone. Isn't this beautiful? Oh, we got a little baby coming in as well, just crossing the road in front. Hello. Hello, little man or little woman. Ah, this is making me giddy. I am full of joy right now. Oh, more coming. So that first one must have just been the very tip of the iceberg, so to speak. Just gonna take my jumper off here. It's starting to get bit warmer now this morning. On we go. It seems like this roadblock has cleared and they are all either beside me in the bushes or behind me now. I love that. I absolutely love that. Having elephants. This elephant on my right is very odd looking. I'll just move back a little bit. It's I can't put my finger on what it is. It looks really skinny in the face. Just the one on the left of this little group here. It just looks its head looks very disproportional to its body. Very small ears. Something just doesn't look right with this one, does it? Hasn't opened its eyes the whole time we've been next to it. There are a few close by. We do know that elephants will take care of the sick and injured. But this one, it's not looking well. Poor thing. Alright. Wow. Let's continue on anyway. Just thought I'd stop for that one. Just caught my attention there. Well, from something absolutely massive to something much, much smaller and with a bit less of a backbone. Let's see what invertebrate Rusty has.
Well, we were just coming along the road. We actually decided to go follow up on the Nkumas this morning, and we came to a screeching halt. To one of the fastest creatures we have here. No, it's not a cheetah. It's a giant land snail. And even them away here. And it's always amazing to see them. I mean, they are large snails, and they're not even close to being around this ocean. They are giant land snail, meaning they are not anywhere near the ocean. If you bet salt anywhere near this guy, or girl, I'm not actually not, actually hermaphrodites, I think that the word's called, where they actually have both male and female organs. So, no, they are very, very interesting creatures. It's taking its time. There's no rush here. I would like to go at a snail's pace, but the world is changing way too quickly for us, so we have to get up to it. Get the new iPhone, get the new iPad. This guy just has to get across the road at a very slow pace. Now, I want to show you in comparison size-wise. Let me just show my hand compared to it. It's actually not even bothered by me. So that is, as you get like escargot, as you want to call it, the snails that you get on plates, they are roughly about that size. This one is like having a snail steak. These snails are edible, but I've never tried it, and I'm never going to try it. I think if I have to chew through that, I will it's a cringe. Yes, it's actually surprising. It hasn't rained in a few days, and it's not often you see them around even when it gets this warm. There is a bit of dew left over in the morning, so I think that's what is keeping it out. But as winter approaches, as the cool air changes, as the warm temperatures disappear, they are going to go find a cool spot and disappear for winter. It is finally getting off the road, so we might be able to move on. I'm not going to help it or interfere. It seems to know where it's going, and there's no need for me to help it along. but I just wanted to move it off the road. So the plan now is we're going to go to the area where the Inkahumas were last seen. They were calling quite a bit this morning, for all of those who didn't know. They were not far from camp, so we're going to see if we can pick up some tracks and move on from there. There was another vehicle looking for them this morning. I know Sydney was en route to them or trying to follow up, but Tundi got in the way, which I don't mind. She can interrupt anytime we can. Okay, the snail has moved off. Okay, so we're going to head off and see if we can find tracks. We're on one of the cut lines, and if they cross over, we cannot follow. But if I can see if the tracks are here, that'll be great, because then they'll give me a clear indication they've crossed. But if not, I know they're still in our area, and there is and I heard they're calling up this morning. I got like very often, like obviously, like follow up the corners. He's like, yes, I'm not anymore. This is worn off. So up by Tundi. Well, I have a radio message. Well, as I said that, yes, the tracks have crossed over on the property where we are not allowed to go. So I will let's keep going to the hyena den. I think that's the next best option. But if we get interrupted by anything else on the road, like another speeding snail, then we will do that. I'm going to head back, let you go back to Pat in the Mara. Following elephants. Or with elephants.
Yes, still searching indeed. They are very elusive, the black rhino. I said earlier I was taking a bit of a chance by looking for them, but if you don't look, you're never going to find. And so I shall continue on, and then, as the plans have dictated, go up to Owino territory and have a bit of a poke around there. Now, I have, over the last few days, been speaking a lot about taxonomic names and how we name animals scientifically, but I haven't really given a full explanation of that. Now, I'm sure most of you watching along will know what I mean when I talk about the genus name and the species name, but let's go right back to the top. So we're grouping animals based on characteristics, and that makes it easier to kind of see whether animals are related and how far off they are from each other. And so let's use the lion as the example. So the lion is Panthera leo. Genus name is Panthera, species name is Leo. But let's start right from the top. So at the very top there is the kingdom, and it's Kingdom Animalia, which is all of the animals. And then one step down from that, we have phylum. Now, they are in the phylum Chordata, or the chordates, and that is basically any animal that has a backbone. Then from phylum, we go down to class, and they are in the class Mammalia, which is all of the mammals. After that, we have the order. Now, they are in the order Feliformes, which is all of the feline-like cats. And then down to family after that, which is the Felidae, which includes all of your big cats and most of the cats that you will find. Then after that is genus Panthera, and then species Leo. So we just used the last two to distinguish species from one another, Panthera Leo. And now this always isn't as clean cut as I have just laid it out. There is between each step a lot of smaller steps as well, such as subfamilies, tribes, suborders, subclasses, and superclasses. So yeah, it does get a bit trickier, and then you add in genetics as well. A lot of traditional taxonomy just went on characteristic features, but when you actually break it down to genetics, that's when things become even more complex. So a good example of this might be a falcon. So looking at the falcon, you might want to group it with the rest of the birds of prey, the Accipitriformes, sorry. But they're actually in a completely different order. So they are in the Falconiformes, not the, I can never pronounce this word right, Accipitriformes. There we go. So that's all of the birds of prey. But the falcons are actually in an order of their own, the Falconiformes, which are actually more closely related to parrots than they are of the birds of prey. And so that's where genetics starts to play a role. And yeah, that's a basic crash course in taxonomy. So whenever you hear me calling an animal by two names, that is the genus name and the species name. Ooh. I'm not going to be able to get that. I just saw a little pin-tailed whiter flying along there, but it went off a bit too quickly. Still just scanning around, hoping that a rhino does decide to show up. I earlier on got very excited thinking I saw one, but it was a buffalo, unfortunately. So Mina Moo is asking about the communications, the vocalizations of black rhino. They actually have quite a funny vocalization. It's a kind of a squeal almost, as opposed to what you would expect from such a big mammal. It's yeah, and they also communicate in ways that we cannot hear as well. Well, let me see. I'll see if I can actually find the sounds of a black rhino so we can all listen, because I am terrible at making animal noises with my mouth. But let me see if I can get this up here. Here we go. So there you go. That is what rhinos sound like. I was quite taken aback first hearing it in Juma. I had heard, this was with white rhinos, I might add, but I obviously knew that they didn't make sounds like that, but just to see it and hear it in the flesh, coming from such a big kind of tank of an animal, it's just, it's, yeah. It really makes them look a bit more like gentle giants. But yes, they can also create frequencies that are not audible to humans, much like elephants as well. So, an animal I could never spend enough time with is rhinos. Ruffer wants to know why are rhinos more difficult to find? Well, unfortunately, they don't have the highest population numbers due to factors such as poaching. Poaching being one of the biggest factors, actually. So They are less dense to start with, so that is one reason. And as I've mentioned a few times this morning, the black rhinos do tend to stay hidden away in the denser areas here in the Mara. So that is another reason why they are difficult to find. But there was a stage there in Juma where I had about 3 or 4 drives in a row where there was 3 rhinos, 3 white rhinos, always hanging about. So we saw quite a bit of them. Got to see them bathing in Buffelshoek Dam, which was very cool, and that was when I also first ever heard those funny vocalizations as well. But unfortunately, I have checked spot 3 of 3, so now we are heading up into Owino territory. So we're going to switch from rhino mode into lion mode. I almost said lino mode then, just to make it rhyme. But yeah, so white rhinos tend to be more in Juma, whereas black rhinos tend to be more up here. But that's not to say there isn't black rhinos around in the Kruger. I've heard Ollie saying that he was once tracking a black rhino. He didn't find it, but when he was at tracking school, they did find the tracks of a black rhino. And once when I was on bushwalk with Brent, he showed me a twig that had been chewed at a 45-degree angle, and he said that was characteristic of black rhino as well, and so he seemed to think that it was a black rhino browsing at the tree we were at the time. So there is signs of them being around down there. And I'm wondering whether I'm going to run into this male lion as well that I saw a couple of times, oh no, not yesterday, 2 days ago, Monday. So both times I came out here, I did find him, albeit he was quite flat, and thus we were unable to show too much of it. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what I stumble upon when I do come back to Owino territory. Whether it'll be the male lion, maybe button up with a cub, maybe just the Owinos themselves, but there's only one way to find out, and that is to have a squiz. The only thing about coming to look for the Owinos is their territory doesn't have the most diverse range of wildlife in it. It's, yeah, you might see the odd buffalo or two that we have seen, well, 2 times now. 2 times with 2 buffalo hunts, but apart from that, there isn't a whole heap hanging around in their territory, which may be a bit of a disadvantage, but they are a smaller pride, which does help a little bit for them. Sorry, I'm just going to slow down and close my eyes here. I'm getting a bit of a dust bath. I can see again. That got in my mouth too. I haven't had breakfast yet, so a bit of dust, I suppose, will suffice. So do keep me company while I am searching for these Owinos up here. You can use the hashtag SafariLive or the YouTube chat stream. Always happy to answer your questions and hear all of your thoughts or comments. I'd like to hear actually what you think is happening with the Owinis. Juvy's saying that those vocalisations make her think of whales. Well, yes, they are very similar, aren't they? Whales, of course, being mammals as well, except in the aquatic environment. So yes, I do find that between the whales and the rhino, that the vocalisations are quite similar. It's also cool with hippos as well to know that they make a lot. I think I read it was about 60 or 80% of vocalisations of hippos are made underwater, which is very cool. They are, of course, closely related to the cetaceans. They are a bit of a link between land and water. But some epic experiences with whales over in Hawaii. There was about 14,000 migrating through whilst I was there in the summer last year. And we got to go out and have some nice views of them. Geez, they are loud as well. When they slap their tail, you can hear it from miles away. And even sitting out on my board in the morning, hearing the songs of the whales, you can actually, if you duck dive deep enough, you can hear actually the whales starting to sing in the morning, which is just a completely moving experience, to tell you the least. That is a land full of life, Hawaii. An absolutely incredible place. Waves, whales, reefs, awesome people, awesome culture. I was in Maui for quite some time, and Oahu, but definitely Maui was more my vibe. Home of the famous break jaws, which can get absolutely massive. Well, we've got some giraffe very far off in the distance. Still just breaching on Owino territory now, so this is where we start to look. Dr. Hawaiiana says they are loving Hawaii, loving being present tense, which must mean that they are there right now. Well, that's awesome. I hope you are having a ball there. There's never... Oh, they live in Hawaii. Nina just said their habitat is Hawaii. Well, Dr. Haida, I'm very jealous of you. I'm not sure which island you are on, but whichever one it is, I'm sure it is absolutely amazing. I did actually apply for a couple of jobs while I was there in Hawaii, but it's a place where everyone wants to work, unfortunately, and, well, I did end up working at the Dive Live shortly after anyway, so all is well that ends well. Another blackback jackal on the road here. Hello. See ya. At least this one was a bit kinder than the one, if anyone was watching it the other night. I had a blackback jackal that just didn't want to move out of my way. It was just sitting right in front of the vehicle for a solid couple of minutes, and every time it would just start to move off to the side, so I'd speed up a little bit and then it would come back in front. It was hilarious. Very cute. Growing fonder and fonder of the blackback jackals day by day. I've never disliked them by any means. I've always liked them. But just the more I spend time around them, the more I'm getting to enjoy. They're just so brave and so quirky. They'll hang around lions, they'll hang around humans, they'll hang around cars. And as we saw the other night, they were capable of 5 jackals taking on 2 cheetahs and winning, taking the carcass until the hyenas came along, and then it was on for young and old. There was battles left, right and centre. It was definitely a highlight. Beautiful morning out here in the Mara. We've actually had some great weather the last couple of weeks. Hearn is asking, have I seen red dirt? I think I heard right there, red dirt out here like we have in the outback. There's been a couple of red dirt roads that I've come across, but absolutely nothing like the Northern Territory. I spent a few months up there before I came out to Juma in about, I think, October last year. I don't know, all of the months are merging into one at the moment. But yeah, for a few months, and the red land out there is just something epic. The whole scenery out there is something epic. It's a song about it. Wash It Away by Narco and Medicine for the People. Red hands, red land, red worship. It's actually a very beautiful song about Australia and the Indigenous culture. Yeah. Anyone looking for music with great lyrics and a real environmental message, get around Narco and Medicine for the People. Great band. So I do apologise for not really looking back at you all too much. This long grass does make tedious work of looking for the Owinos. Generally, we see them on the right-hand side of the road, but I have seen them on the left-hand side of the road before I followed them to the den that day. They had made a kill on the left-hand side of the road. But lately, they have been kind of further up as well than when we usually do see them. Owinos, of course, consisting of 4 females, 2 adult, 2 sub-adult. 2 adults being Lychee, Lychee and Butternut. Butternut, the one with the cub or cubs at the moment. Then Lychee is the paler of the 2. Then the younger lionesses, Ridge Nose and Papaya. And then finally the young male. Well, it seems like problems in Juma may be starting to dissipate a little bit. I think Sydney is still out of the game, but Rusty is on his way to the hyena den.
Well, the hyena den got a bit of a distraction. Sydney seems to be being attacked by the gremlins left and right as we speak. So I think he's having comms issue and back in camp getting that sorted. I have decided to go on and see if I can carry on looking for Kalamba and for Tandi. Sorry, there was a leopard scene. Actually, we just went straight down one of the drainage lines close to where Tandi was. Whoa, sorry. Traffic jam. We've just been talking about, we haven't seen elephants today, and come around the corner. It's one of those things like you just don't know what's around the corner. There seems to be a few of these elephants, so we're just going to move forward a little bit. There seems to be a bird here. That was definitely Janssen across the road. Just see a bump sticking out. Let's just get a bit closer. There are many different ways of having roadblocks here, and this is definitely one I will highly recommend. They're all static feeding very quietly. They're all very relaxed. There's no rush here or taking their time. It is starting to heat up, so I'm hoping for them to go down to the watering hole soon. Oh, yeah. So, yes, I wanted to know what Pat was saying about the black rhino and the sound they were making. I've been around a few black rhino and the sounds are very interesting. They come in different sounds. For such a large animal, they make the most squeakiest sound sometimes. But yes, it's quite a special thing being around black rhino, especially in the Mara, where you can actually see them off for quite a big distance. Yeah, we're going to continue going. These elephants are very spread out either side of the road, and I'd rather move off while we still have a gap and see if we can follow up on Tandi. I have never seen Tandi before. I've not met her. I had the opportunity to. I've seen her on, obviously, live through what you've seen her through. And I've seen Kalamba. I have seen Tingani, a short female. And Tandi, she built up a massive reputation here. So I'm just creeping slowly. These it out. We would take our time and not disturb him. I don't know that, but you hear this rumble as if form of communication. They get across in front of us. Oh, there we go. There's one, and I think the grumble we heard might have been that one. Yeah, there's a bit of turn going on. So I hear Sydney's actually back out and running, which is really good, and he's in search for Tundi as well, so I'll let him do that. We will head you back over.
A very good morning again. I was away for a while. I was experiencing some of the communication problems, but now I am back and I am going back to where we have left. Tundi, it's just that Tundi, we might find that she's not at the same spot as when I left. She was busy going in the deep bushes. So we are going back there to try and see if we can reallocate her. So the direction she was moving much more towards the Mulwati area. So we might find her maybe somewhere in that drainage line. Elephant tracks and droppings everywhere, but no elephants this morning. So there is no tracks of Tundi coming this side, so it means she's heading towards that side where we left her. She did not turn to come back this side. Maybe she's following Kalamba because she's just heading towards the direction where I left Kalamba yesterday evening. Rosinda, Tundi and Kalamba, they do get along a lot because also before Kalamba was found yesterday, there was a report that there were tracks of two leopards, which was for Tundi and Kalamba. They were together somewhere yesterday before the sighting. So the possibilities of them again meeting this morning, they are also still very much high. So Tundi and Kalamba, they don't fight. Kalamba is still very much young and she's not yet a competitor to Tundi. Only when Kalamba becomes matured is then that Tundi will then kick Kalamba off completely from her territory. So that is how it works. Normally is when they are over 2 years. So Kalamba is just over 1 year old now. She's not ready yet for competition when it comes to mating with a Tundi. So we are still going to see a Tundi in this area for quite a long time. A Kalamba as well for a long time. Same applies to Hosanna. So Hosanna is still here. Only when he starts to seriously demarcate the territory and starts to defend is when there will be conflicts between him and Tingana. I'm just checking again here on the roads to see if Tandy did not come back, because sometimes these leopards can go forward and come back here and tend to come back again. Tingana was last spotted somewhere around the Buffalo's Hook area, and to those of you who are new viewers, Buffalo's Hook is one of the neighboring property, and we are sharing because the fences has been taken down between us and our neighboring properties just to give the animals free access roaming. So it means the borders, they still apply only to us, but animals have got free access roaming. So still here there are no tracks showing that Tandy is here. I'm gonna go and check the Twins Dam. So I'm not very far away from the Twins Dam. The possibilities of finding something there, they are very much high. It's at the dam. So the dams, normally they attract different animals, both predators and their prey. So now let's go back to the Masai Mara. Patrick is waiting.
Well, I've just kind of pushed up a little bit from Owino territory because I just spotted on the horizon this immense herd of elephants. So I just couldn't not come and look here. I can't even estimate how many there are right now. Probably about 40, I reckon. About 40 elephants. Huge herd. Very cool to see. Most likely not one herd that will always be together though. There's most likely a few matriarchs amongst there and a few different herds. Sometimes they will come together and sometimes they will split off. It's just the dynamics of ellies. But it looks like there's a whole range of elephants here, from young right up to old. Very awesome thing to see. So cool. Even though we've seen so many elephants already this morning, I just thought one more sighting of this huge herd would be very nice to see. Just feast our eyes for a little bit. Someone seems to be in a bit of a hurry. Sorry to hear a bit of a vehicle-related noise there. There's just a car making their way around us. There's 4 vehicles here, actually, including us. Janice says that she's never seen such a big group of ellies before. I don't think I have either as well. I've seen probably about this size, and it was here in the Masai Mara. Don't often see herds this large down in Juma. I have heard of massive herds being found in the Kruger National Park, but yes, this is definitely one of the bigger ones that I have ever seen. So why not stop and soak it all in? Hear a lot of swallows calling from this tree next to me. They're all over me, I'm not all over me, all over the place at the moment. As for the species, I couldn't tell you, they are notoriously difficult to distinguish from one another. Can you hear that? It almost sounds like a rhino, doesn't it? Oh, cool, lilac-breasted roller up in the tree as well. Boygina wants to know whether elephants' ears get bigger as they age. Well, yes, to a point. Obviously, if we go back to the elephants and just look at this little one in the grass here, we can see that the ear is quite a lot smaller than the adults there. But as they do grow, so will the ears, but only to a point. So once they get a bit older, you will start to notice their body size will start to grow, and it will almost look as if the ear is shrinking in proportion to the body, but it's not actually shrinking, it's just the fact that the body is still growing. And they do cop a bit of wear and tear as well, the elephant ears. You'll notice older elephants tend to have a lot of tears and cuts out of their ears. Oh, I think we might have just got a little bit of attitude there from one of these elephants. But whatever the situation, it is hidden now. But it did look like that one was doing a little bit of a charge. Yeah, locking tusks there. I think this might be affection though, rather than sparring. You can see the trunk. Well, maybe it is. Yeah, it is a little bit of sparring actually. It's nice just to spend time with such a large herd, just observing all the dynamics between the various groups of elephants here, the various types, ages. Beautiful stuff. All right, well, definitely thoroughly enjoyed that. I'm going to turn back around now and head back down to Owino territory. See if I can pick back up on my lovely lions. Just bear with me. So if anyone did happen to know what swallow species that was sitting up in the tree, please do let me know. They're quite a small bird, and there's a lot of similar looking species, which does make identification a little bit tricky. It's nice to see the lilac-breasted roller up in that tree as well, the national bird of Kenya, in fact. Janet says it looks like river swallows. Thank you, Janet, for your input. I could neither confirm nor deny that one, but thank you for helping me out there. They have, they're still, no, sorry, they are all gone now. I was gonna get out my ID book, my ID e-book on my phone, but they're past gone now. slowly but surely piecing together all of the birds of the Mara. One just up here went into the grass. I'll see if I can pick back up on it that I did speak about earlier. The pin-tailed whiter, just here. So, it's just gone into the, there we go. So we can see it there with the long tail. So there's a pin-tailed whiter. They are very sexually dimorphic, these ones. So the males will be the ones with the very long tails, and the females are more mottled and more plain, kind of regular looking bird. Anyway, I believe Rusty has found something very exciting down in South Africa. What could it be? There's only one way to find out.
Well, we're following up on Columba. She's just disappeared. You can just see her going through the thicket here. She's on Columba, yeah. She's on a mission. It's quite difficult to keep up with her, but we'll make our way. Sorry. She's actually not far from camp, so it's actually quite nice. So we will just slowly follow her. There is another vehicle with us. Now, we actually drove through here this morning, but as you know, it's quite difficult. I mean, the bush here is very thick. We don't want to push her too much. She's gorgeous. I think she's spotted something because she's gone into like the stalking mode just behind the bushes. I absolutely love her. We had her shortly at the beginning of the week hunting a duiker that was seen for the first time, or seen her seeing a successful hunt. She's obviously been doing very well for herself, but she has spotted something in here. She's very intrigued, very, very intrigued. But oh god, I love them, absolutely love them. With the morning light on her, she like glows. She is a bit of the star of the show. She's absolutely stunning. She has spotted something, but I'm not too sure what. I think she is following up on a smell she had. It could just be another young duiker or something. It is warming up, but she is still very young, so she's just taking any opportunity she can to hunt. Now, Tundi was seen this morning, her mother, not far from here. So we're just going to stay with her. Now that pattern, she disappears so quickly in the grass. That mottled leopard print. Oh, she's disappeared. Let's see if she'll come out again. It's quite sparse here. There's actually quite a bit of grass, but we can actually, with individual trees, so we can actually see her move. Instead of pushing her, I think we'll just watch and see if she comes out. Yeah. So yeah, she's almost 1.5 years old, and she is doing very well for herself. Everyone gets quite excited when we see her with a kill, because it's every bit of kill she makes is a learning curve. Though she hasn't got on to the larger animals, she has very successfully with the duiker. She's hunted rabbit. It's more of the smaller ones where it's less risk to her of getting harmed. Okay, I did say it's like sometimes it's quite easy to find her, but other times she disappears very quickly. But it's also because she's very used to the vehicle, as you can see, we don't want to accidentally get too close and run over her tail. I've stepped on many a cat's tail in the past years, and I know the reaction, and I don't want to do that to her. But I'm pretty sure she's still on the move. I think this vehicle in front can see her. Okay, Seb. I think you might need to be higher. There we go. Pretty girl. Yeah, so she is hunting, but she's still very restless and moving on. So we will stay with her for a bit longer, but I don't want her to interrupt her too much. She is looking for something. I think she might have disturbed something earlier and now following up on it. I'm not too sure what it is. There's a lot of animals that hide in the grass. Anything from mongooses, hares, duikers, steenbok. But she's listening. You just see the ears twitching every now and again. She's picking up on something. Oh, those are the white storks we saw earlier. They're making a move. Yeah, the migratory pattern of the white stork. That'd be interesting to put on a tracking device and see where they head. Yeah, they're catching the thermals. It's heating up very quickly, and the weather report said something about a thunderstorm tomorrow evening. But with the heat as much as it is now, it's building up. It's just past 8 o'clock, and it feels like 30 degrees already. I think by the time the evening comes, it's going to be, or the afternoon, it's going to be very warm. And we did have a plan to go for a run, which I might actually pass on now. But I'm just going to go around and see if we can keep following her. Keep following Talamba. Can I go that way around?
Yeah.
If the storks move off on their migratory route or going off to better feeding grounds, we are going to keep an eye on the next star. She's really not bothered by us, but she's very focused on something. She is hunting. She's not at all relaxed. Oh, scratch behind the ear. Try to remove those parasites, mostly ticks. Love it, hey? You see how the colours blend in? Perfect predator. Oh, you can see every muscle. Okay. So there's actually a water source quite close by here where we think she might be going down to. Sorry, it's it's quite crazy. It's like we look different directions, and it just takes her 2 minutes, and she's like disappeared in the grass. She's just disappeared around the corner here. It's like we have time. There's no need. We will follow her slowly but gently. It will be incredible to witness another hunt, as they almost caught her the other day with a duiker. It's great to be part of her life and see her like increase in her age and her, I won't say credentials, but in her ability to be able to hunt the way she does, to learn every step, take every step with her on her learning curve. Ooh, she just disappears. I don't have any sight of her at the moment, but she will make an appearance. I think she's just walking from one shady spot to the other. There's another vehicle with us that's also looking for her. So she's around somewhere. And we have time. There's no rush. I'll just turn off here. Yeah, she seems to have changed direction. So we're going to keep with her and see if we can keep a track of her. We will be back. We're going to send you over to Sydney, who is following up on her mother, apparently. It'll be quite nice to have the trio, both of them on at the same time. Okay.
I am right here now at the Twins Dam, and the only animals I've got is the baboons and the impalas. I was taking it from previous, and I saw that the tracks for Tandy got disappeared somewhere in the block around here. She must be still around here, not very far away from this dam. You can see now, you can hear the birds are making a lot of noise because those are some of the ground dwellers. And when the baboons and the impalas are moving and running around these dams, they can sometimes come near the nest of those birds. You can see the baboons here. It's not just one or two. This is a very big troop. These baboons, I have been hearing them for a while now, and is the ones who normally give us the good signals when there is a predator around. So the baboons, they stay in troops. The social structure of the baboon is called an oligarchy. Here, they don't have one territorial holder. They don't work like the territorial animals. Both these males, they share all the females. And the females, they've got to let the males aware of their reproductive status. Interestingly, when the females are on heat or when they're on full ostrus, you will see at the back their buttocks get a pink color, and they start to dominate a very pink color, which will then attract these males for mating purposes. If we look here, we might be lucky and see one of the females like that. So the animals such as the leopards, those big predators, they do prefer to eat the baboons a lot. It's just that to take down a baboon sometimes can be difficult because they can defend themselves. They have got very big tooth canines which can be very much dangerous. Here you can see even the little ones playing there. So at the moment, the baboons are not that worried too much about the food because there is quite a lot of fruits here in the bush. So, but fortunately here in Juma, baboons, they don't give us problems. These animals can tend to be problematic sometimes. You can see the little ones, they look at the little one playing with the others. This is interesting. Let's see what is... The little one jumped up. Rosinda, the baboons and the monkeys, unfortunately, they don't really speak the same language. But now, because of that question, I am going to give you a broad answer. These animals, even if they don't speak the same language, they can still rely on each other. Baboons helps even the antelopes. When the baboons are high up in these trees, they've got a very at the good advantage of a wide vision, and they can see animals from far. When baboons are giving an alarm call, they are not just warning each other. It does help the other animals of the different species, such as the impalas and the kudus. When they hear these kind of animals making noise, they rely on them and they know that something is coming. So even when the animals are talking different languages, but still they depend on each other and they can be able to interpret what is happening. So baboons and monkeys, they are very good. They can serve a very good signal because it's the ones who can be able to climb trees high up. Ryan, the baboons are very much strong, and they work as a team. Look at the baby right on top there by the water hole. You will see there's a very newborn. I saw that baby just now. You will see. The baboons, they are very much strong. These animals, they also work together when they want to get hold of something. Look at those tails. One of them looks like a black mamba. You can see that tail looks like a black mamba. You see, that is the baby I was talking about. Look at that baby. That looks very small. You can see how the tail is designed. So the little ones can be able to at least get a very nice balance from the tail. Carol G, the baboons normally will see them with just a single little ones. I am not too sure if it has been recorded whereby you can have them with quite a lot of babies at the same time. So you can see when others are drinking, the other ones are on a watch out. You can see that one is done and the other ones are coming in. I don't know if maybe that is part of their anti-predatory strategies. Because they are not like drinking all of them at the same time. They are giving each other a chance. You can see when others are coming back, some are going in. Gary Gray, the baboons are so very much social. And you will see not only the mothers are the ones holding these babies, even the males, you will see the males having the babies on their back. So playing with the little ones, growing the little ones, they do it as a team, as a collective. It's not like each one of them is going to look after their own small little ones. No, here there is quite a lot of care and they do it as a collective. So don't get surprised. You will see these little ones together with the males as well. You can see how that one is grooming the other. The one is drinking, the other one is grooming some of the ticks just by the tail there. Safari Sally, there is quite a lot of interesting traditional stories associated with the baboons. Where I come from, when there is a newborn, if there is a problem and they want to teach the newborn in order to get rid of the fear, what they do is they use the baboon skin and they scratch the little one and throw the little one up in the air. And when that little one comes down, it's not going to be afraid of the heights anymore. So the baboons, they are also used for that. But apart from that, if we have got a problem of the little ones wetting blankets, you can go to the bush where the baboons are staying and get the droppings. And those droppings must only be collected by the affected person. So the one who is having a problem must be the one to collect the baboon droppings, and they bring them home. and then we have to then start a big fire for him. He must have to then use the coals and burn those droppings and inhale them in order to solve that problem. And it works, but the smell is not placetic, I can promise you. The droppings for the baboons, they don't smell nice, but they can be, traditionally, they can solve some of those kind of a problem. And again, the urine for these baboons can also serve as an aphrodisiac. What we do is we take that sticky urine, we call it chitunde chafene. We take the sticky urine from the baboons and we can then convert it into dust. And we put that dust when we are drinking things that are consisted of the soft porridge. And for the baboons, it's very much recommended. So I'm just going to pull forward now and see if we can find something interesting. So now let's go back to Rusty with a Talamba.
Yeah, she's just going down here. Well, we're still on pursuit of Kalamba, but seems to be on a mission. I don't know when she last ate, but she is definitely she's going somewhere. It's very difficult to keep up with her, but we're trying. But she's obviously just crossed this tiny little drainage line, which of course for them, they just hop across. For the vehicles, it's a bit of a problem. And I don't want to be on my first couple of weeks here to destroy one of the vehicles trying to cross it. So there is another vehicle joining us, seeing if he has any luck trying to locate her. We had it about 2 seconds ago as we came on online again. I'm back on live. She disappeared out of the screenshot. So we are just going to keep meandering after her and hopefully bring her to her before the show ends. It'll be a nice way to finish for the morning. But she's not far from camp, so hopefully, just hopefully, hopefully we will find her this afternoon if we don't have any luck now. Oh. You always do feel a bit guilty driving through the bush like this. You don't know what's hiding in the grass, you don't know what you're disturbing, so you have to drive as slowly as possible, but also keeping up with the animal. And they make it look so easy, just sauntering along. But with the vehicles, it's a bit of a mission. So yeah, I think she's on the mission for hunting. She's not relaxed at all. She's not fazed by us, but she's picking up on every sound of all the other animals around her. So we are trying to keep a distance so she can do her thing. And hopefully we can witness a hunt soon and share it with you. The bush is getting thicker for us. We're all on searches today, so we're going to send you back over to Patrick, who's looking for the Wiener Pride up in the Mara. I wish him luck.
Yes, we are all searching, and searching I am continuing to do. We are kind of just in Owino territory now. Hang on, okay, so this looks like it may have been used for a den recently, just this little bush here. So we can see, if we have a look here, that it looks like this has been used for a den for sure. There's a lot of flattened grass, and we can see a nice little entry hole there as well. So it's a bit harder to see, but you can see, yeah, just there's that entry bit, and all of the grass around it is flattened, most likely from something laying down. So, I wonder if Butternut has brought her cub back down this way for a den site. Well, that's a good indication anyway. that there is something around. So the other den site where she had the 3 cubs was a little bit further back behind me. So maybe they have moved back down in this direction after spending a lot of time sort of southeastish from where we are right now. Kind of down this escarpment. That's a good way to kind of orientate ourselves. So lately they have been down that way, but I found them first that way. Janet says she's coming back with the swallows, and she said they're not river swallows. She said brine swallows. Did I hear that correctly? Was it brine swallows? Okay, so I didn't quite catch what it was, but she said not river swallows. Anyway, thanks for continuing on and yeah, still trying to identify those swallows for me means a lot. You have to put in the time and effort. Oh, we knows. So again, I'm just gonna move up towards the escarpment now and just try and get on the higher ground and then do a good old binocular scan. That tends to be the best way to find them, I'm finding lately, is to just find a spot with a good vantage point and then just have a nice old scan over the environment, see what comes up. Feels like I've been away from the Owinos for ages, even though it's only been just a little bit over 3 days. Spent so much time with them last week. Just about every day I was out, I was with them, and well, every time they led me to something new. 2 buffalo hunts, 1 warthog hunt, and 3 cubs, all just from following these lions around. Alrighty, well, still going to look for some last minute lions, but let's go. Rusty is getting on.
Oh, Columba, the joyful one, the playful one. She finally found a spot where she seems to be very relaxed, as you can see. It's very shaded, and she has been walking for actually quite a bit. But I agree with her spot. I do concur. I like it. It's shady, it's cool, and she is relaxed. I'm glad we caught up with her. She doesn't seem to be too fazed about us, so we're going to stay with her. She is gorgeous, isn't she? Hey, those eyes. She's absolutely beautiful. I'm glad we got to see her one more time before the show ends. I can just imagine all the burrs stuck in the tail and how much grooming it takes. Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. These are definitely one of my cats that I love to see. And just to stay with them. I would love to spend almost let's say 48 hours with one of them and just see what her interaction, how her life will go, how a normal daily routine goes. She is looking not scrawny, but she is looking a bit thin, like she hasn't eaten for a few days. So it's just normal. She can go another few days without eating, but she was definitely on the hunt this morning. So I'm pretty sure by the end of the day or even tonight she'll find something, if not tomorrow. She is already proven to be a successful hunter. She's proved that already, so we have no worries in her survival chance of feeding her safe. We can almost actually see camp from here, so it's actually quite nice that she's still around and hanging so close to camp. But she is in a very difficult area to get into. So yes, it's quite difficult to see if we can find her this afternoon. If she moves from here, it's very grassy, so it's very hard to find tracks. There's a nice cool breeze. We need it. I'm sweating through everything at the moment. So yes, well, it was a great privilege to be able to spend the last minutes with her and to be able to share this with you. And yes, thank you very much everyone for following us this morning on the Sunrise Safari. It's been absolutely amazing. We'll see you all this evening for the evening drive.